something strange is happening inside Aston Martin. And no, it's not a technical glitch or a pit stop fiasco. It's the slow-motion implosion of Lance Stroll's Formula One career, happening right in front of our eyes and right inside the very team his father built around him. He didn't show up for the Spanish Grand Prix, officially due to a wrist injury. But behind the scenes, it's becoming clear his position is more fragile than ever. And with the Canadian Grand Prix just days away, his home race, the silence from the team has only raised more questions. Has Lance Stroll finally reached the end of the road? Or are we watching the most delicate driver dilemma in modern F1 begin to crack wide open? Coming into 2025, Aston Martin had all the pieces on paper. A fresh technical reboot, lessons learned from last year's early surge and late fade. And most importantly, continuity. Fernando Alonso re-signed for 2 more years. Lance Stroll, of course, was locked in. And the team's mission was clear. Fight at the front, not in the midfield. But by round 9, the dream was falling apart. The AMR 25 has been a tough car, too draggy on the straights, too unpredictable in slow corners. But while Alonso adapted, salvaging points through grit and strategy, Stroll has struggled badly.
And it hit the rear right as well.
Crash, box.
In Australia, Stroll looked sharp, finishing 6th. But that would be the high point. In the races that followed, his qualifying performances dipped. His racecraft looked uncertain. And his frustration, quiet but visible, grew round by round. By the time the European leg began, Alonso was scoring all the points. Stroll had faded to the back of the midfield fight, getting out-qualified by Haas and RB drivers and falling into DRS trains he couldn't escape. And then came Monaco, a track that rewards confidence, precision and commitment. Stroll qualified 14th. Alonso was 7th. But it wasn't just the time gap, it was the body language. On the radio, Lance barely spoke. When he did, it was terse. After the race, another non-score, he left the paddock early. No interviews, no quotes, nothing. Behind closed doors, tensions were starting to rise. Then came Barcelona. The team announced that Stroll would be withdrawn from the Spanish Grand Prix due to ongoing pain in his wrist and hand, stemming from his 2023 cycling crash. It was a precautionary procedure, they said. But here's the thing, he qualified for the race. That's right, Stroll made it through the entire qualifying session, placed P14 and was only pulled after Saturday. Why? Team principal Mike Crack insisted it was purely medical. But in the paddock, rumours swirled. Was this more mental than physical? Was the pressure finally cracking Stroll's composure? Or was Aston Martin quietly preparing to test life without him? And perhaps most unsettling for Stroll, Alonso scored points. Again. Fernando Alonso has never been an easy teammate. Ask Lewis Hamilton, ask Felipe Massa. Ask anyone. But in this chapter of his career, Alonso has become something even more dangerous. Calm, methodical, and completely in control. He's the one extracting maximum value from the AMR 25. He's the one working closely with engineers. He's the one the garage listens to when development decisions are made. And Lance, he's being outdriven, outshone, outmaneuvered, inside and outside the car. You can feel it. Alonso is now the team's centerpiece, not the billionaire's son. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because Lance isn't just any underperforming driver, he's the son of the man who owns the team. Lawrence Stroll isn't just bankrolling Aston Martin, he's the architect behind its entire Formula One resurrection. The brand, the factory, the technical brain drain, Newey rumours and all. It's all him. But Lawrence is also a businessman, a long-term thinker, and Aston Martin's strategic partnership with Honda begins in 2026. They're aiming to be a full works outfit, maybe even title contenders. So here's the real question. Can a father afford to keep his son in that second seat, if it risks the future of the project? It's the one decision Lawrence never thought he'd have to make. While the official line remains that Lance will return for the Canadian Grand Prix, things have been moving in the background. Reserve driver Felipe Drugovich was quietly kept on standby in Barcelona. He's fast, he's got simulator time, and more importantly, he's hungry. There are also whispers that Aston Martin have been approached by drivers looking for a 2026 seat. Esteban Ocon is rumoured to be unsettled at Alpine. Mick Schumacher is actively courting multiple teams for a comeback. The message is clear. Other drivers are circling. And for the first time, Aston Martin isn't brushing them off. Let's break down the performance gap. Corner entry instability. The AMR 25 demands trust on turn-in. Alonso has adapted his inputs and is finding time in medium-speed corners. Stroll, however, has struggled to commit, leading to overcorrections and inconsistent lap times. Braking precision. The revised aero package affects the car's braking stability. Alonso brakes later, modulates better. Stroll, he's been locking up more often, particularly in races like Imola and China. Setup sensitivity. While Alonso adjusts to whatever balance he's given, Stroll has consistently needed more rear-end grip to feel comfortable, but giving him that compromises race pace. It's a vicious cycle. Now we turn to Montreal, the Canadian Grand Prix, Stroll's home race. The paddock expects him to return, but not just to participate, to prove he still belongs. Can he handle the pressure? Can he silence the noise? Or will this be the race that confirms what many have already begun to suspect? That Lance Stroll has reached the ceiling of his F1 career. The optics are brutal. A poor showing at home, especially after sitting out Spain, would only confirm the doubts. Even worse, if Alonso scores again while Stroll stumbles, the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. Let's be honest, Lance Stroll has never won the hearts of hardcore F1 fans, but for a time, he proved he belonged. A podium in Baku, a pole in Turkey, several midfield battles won on merit. But this season the game has changed. The margins are tighter, the expectations are higher, and the team around him is no longer there to protect him. They're trying to survive. And what's becoming more and more clear is that Formula One has caught up to Lance Stroll. The stopwatch doesn't care about your last name. And in this sport, sentiment doesn't last long. The Canadian Grand Prix could be Lance Stroll's most important race yet. Not just because it's his home race, but because it might be the one that decides whether he even has a place in Formula One beyond 2025. What do you think? Will Lance deliver under pressure, or is the Stroll era at Aston Martin coming to a quiet, uncomfortable end? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell for more insane videos from the F1 Racing Newsroom. Racing News.